The most hostile of all was Judge. That guy was pretty racist even by 19th century standards.
Maybe not the
7:01 a.m.
No, as legal historian Stuart Banner wrote,
"It is hard to imagine Judge Manning could have put all his disgust for the Maori and his hatred of his own job aside and devoted careful attention to the merits of each claim. Many officials most likely shared his indifference to issues of justice among Maori. For this reason, issues of the greatest importance to the Maori could be decided in the most casual, offhand way."
Slide down. Dude.
But the story of the Native Land Court is less about individual decisions of corrupt or racist judges. It's more about how the court operated as an institution.
There. Oh no.
For example, the 1840 rule, which meant the court would only consider land ownership as it existed when the treaty was signed. Think of iwi and hapu playing musical chairs with their territories and boundaries. And then in 1840, the music stops. Those boundaries are locked in forever.
And this caused some problems because the treaty was signed in the aftermath of the Musket Wars, and many tribes had temporarily evacuated traditional lands to escape their rivals. So, if one iwi had moved out of an area to escape an attack, and another iwi set up a camp so that they could take tuna eels from a local river, who owned that land?
Tikanga Māori would usually privilege the first iwi given their deep links to the whenua through whakapapa, but the court, following the 1840 rule, might award the land to the second iwi.
Also, for the first 8 years, the court had something called the 10 owners rule. In short, it usually granted land blocks smaller than 5,000 acres to a group of only 10 owners. Sometimes larger blocks were also granted to just 10 people.
It's quite funny. It's not funny, it's really depressing. It's just because there's no way that it could even happen in like 10 people in charge.
Yeah.
Just like ridiculous. Anyway. In theory, those owners were trustees. They were supposed to represent everyone with rights to that land, potentially hundreds or even thousands of people. Reason why I'm laughing.
But in practice, any of the 10 owners could sell the land without consulting anyone.
A famous example was the 19,000-acre Heretaunga block in the Hawke's Bay region. It was granted to 10 owners in 1866.
17,000 acres of that land were sold within 3 years, mostly to repay debts to storekeepers. More on that in just a second.
In 1872, 554 Māori signed a petition to Parliament which said that
the storekeepers urged the grantees to sell the portions for which they were trustees for others. The sale was urged before the grantees were aware of what they were doing. Consequently, they sold for a small price.
Take that, black.
Partly in response to that petition, the 10 owners rule was changed so that all members of a tribe could be named as owners.
But, ironically, this made it even easier for settlers to buy land.
Yeah, because every named owner was a potential target for land buyers, and if anyone sold, that affected everyone with rights to the land. Land purchasers did stuff like release livestock, cut down trees, drain wetlands.
Which made it very difficult for Māori to carry on life as normal.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to harvest kiruru if trees have been cut down, and it's hard to catch tuna if the wetlands have been drained.
And even if some Māori wanted to adopt European-style agriculture, most couldn't because they struggled to access the
Oh
cash to
no,
finance it.
no, I'm Rose.
You might be wondering why Māori agreed to go to court in the first place. Why didn't they just keep living on their land as they always had, relying on traditional methods to assert their ownership of land?
Well, some Māori saw the court as a way of confirming their rights to land and resources. Others wanted money from land sales to invest in livestock or housing or new technologies. The Crown framed the court as a way for Māori to shore up property rights and better participate in the new colonial economy emerging around them.
But let's not be naive here. You heard what Judge Monroe said. The primary goal of the court was clearly to get more land for colonists.
And one of the biggest ways this happened was through debt. Anyone who was owed money by Māori could apply to the court so their debts could be paid in land.
Sometimes those were debts owed to storekeepers or private land speculators. But often they were debts to government departments.
Government agents
no,
often
I'm
deliberately
Rose now.
offered loans to Māori so they could get hold of land in repayment, especially when those Māori were otherwise unwilling to sell land.
Yeah, for example, here's part of a letter from a Crown land agent called James Mackay, writing about his attempts to get land from Ngāti Tamatera in the Hauraki region.
I attempted in vain to get Ngāti Tamatera to
There.
treat for the sale of land to the government. They refused to take the governor's money. At this time, their old and influential chief, Taraya Ngākuti, died, and a very great feast was contemplated. And although the obstructives would not take money, they joined the friendly natives in procuring some thousands of pounds worth of flour, sugar,
Rose.
tobacco, tea, bullocks, sheep, and clothing.
So James Mackay is boasting about offering loans of food and other supplies to grieving Māori so they could do their bit to support a tangitia, then forcing those Māori to pay back the loans and land. This wasn't a one-off, by the way. Government agents and private land buyers often used tangi as opportunities to get Māori into debt, then went to the native land court so those debts could be paid in land.
Now, you might be wondering, why didn't Māori just refuse to take on these loans?
Well, some did, but the thing is...
Oh no!
you
Oh no! No!
could still drag you into the court.
No! Wah!
Māori who'd taken out a loan needed to sell land to pay debt. They could go to court on their own.
But if other Māori with rights to the same land didn't turn up, well, the court sometimes just dealt with the person who was there. The others could miss out entirely, and their land might be sold out from under them.
And this was the key to the native land. A whole community could be forced to attend court by a single person who might have been caught up in debt.